thinks the mysterious hum could be caused by low-frequency sound waves.
V-shaped, unidentified flying object in the night sky.
Ever heard those weird noises coming from up above that you just can't explain, like a deep rumbling sound or a high-pitched whine? Well, what if these weren't just some random atmospheric disturbances? What if they were aliens trying to make contact with us? Or maybe they've already made contact and we just don't know it yet.
A mysterious sound heard inside the Boeing Starliner capsule has stopped.
From the spine-tingling screams echoing off a New York City building to the rhythmic drumming of the sky, there's enough strange stuff happening to make you want to lock the doors and never leave home again. 1. The strange hum of Fort Greene, Brooklyn. If you've ever been to Fort Greene, Brooklyn, you might have heard a sound that's not exactly city noise. It's not construction, not traffic, more like someone gently running their finger around the rim of a glass, producing a deep, resonant hum. Sounds oddly specific, right? That's because this strange noise has been driving locals wild for ages, and no one can quite figure it out. Described as harmonic, like a tuning fork or a glass vibrating, the hum tends to appear out of nowhere, with some people claiming it's loud enough to keep them up all night. Theories are all over the place. Some think it's just construction equipment, but here's where things get really weird. When residents reported the sound and the city sent out the Department of Environmental Protection to investigate, the sound just stopped. Was this a coincidence, or does the source of the noise somehow know when it's being watched?
As soon as you think, okay, well now I've gotten used to it, now I'm ready to live my life with this noise, then it goes away. And you're like, oh, that's great, and then it comes back.
While many chalk it up to malfunctioning machines or underground disturbances, others lean into more out there theories like extraterrestrial meddling. Whatever the case, the hum's elusive nature keeps residents and conspiracy theorists on edge. 2. The music that haunted New Jersey. 5 years ago, mysterious late-night music in New Jersey had residents reaching for their phones in a panic, flooding 911 with over 20 calls. This wasn't just some neighborhood prank. Like and subscribe right now and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. No one could figure out where the sound was coming from. The police were stumped, and even Chief Alan Cummings, who'd been on this case for months, couldn't track down the source. The weirdest part? It might have been coming from across the river in Delaware, but come on, how is it that hard to locate a noise in a city? Some people thought it was just a boat making the rounds, but after all this time and effort, you'd think they would have nailed down that explanation by now. The Coast Guard even got involved, trying to figure out if a barge was the culprit. But what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if this isn't just some random sound? What if it's something otherworldly? Siren song, anyone? 3. The shrill mystery of Oklahoma's sleepless nights. In February 2022, residents just northeast of Oklahoma City found themselves up against a mystery that was quite literally keeping them awake, a piercing, shrill noise echoing through the night. Despite numerous complaints, no one could quite pin down what it was or where it was coming from. Some fingers pointed toward a nearby oil company's well site, but even that remains a shaky guess at best. The sound wasn't just a little annoying, it was loud enough to disrupt the entire neighborhood. Authorities have tried investigating, but with no definite source, locals are left wondering, is it really coming from the well, or is something else at play here? The fact that no one can figure it out only adds to the eeriness. 4. The shrieking condo of NYC. So, you're walking down 3rd Avenue, and suddenly, this unearthly high-pitched screech fills the air.
The sound is coming off the building at 347 Henry Street in Cobble Hill and can be heard for blocks.
It's not just annoying, it's like nails on a chalkboard, but on steroids, echoing through the neighborhood for blocks. Locals call it the Shrieking Building, and honestly, the sound is enough to make anyone wonder if a dinosaur's ghost is trapped in the penthouse. Theories abound, and some have pinned the blame on the condo's balconies. These luxury balconies apparently have bars that, when the wind hits just right, produce a whistling sound that crescendos into a full-on screech. But here's the thing, we're not entirely sure it's the balconies. That's just one guess floating around. Could it be something even stranger? Who knows? Whatever it is, residents just want the screaming to stop before they all lose their sanity. 5. The sky drums of Colorado. Back in August 2011, two hikers in Colorado came upon a sound that felt like it was ripped straight from a paranormal flick, like a mix between haunting blasts and rhythmic thumping. Just hours before a moderate earthquake rocked the state, they recorded bizarre noises that sounded like someone jamming on sky drums. The sound was consistent, like a single drum beat reverberating through the air, but lacking any chaotic rhythm, almost like a sonic message from the earth itself. The timing couldn't have been more curious. As these hikers tried to make sense of the otherworldly sounds, little did they know that the ground would soon rumble beneath them. Locals started connecting these eerie noises to the impending seismic activity, wondering if they were some kind of warning. Were these sounds the Earth's way of sending a signal, or just a natural occurrence before the quake? With the odd syncopation and the mysterious timing, it feels like we're left with a tale that belongs in the pages of a sci-fi novel. 6. The sound that shook Salt Lake City. In May 2021, a Salt Lake City neighborhood was rattled awake at 5 a.m. by a mysterious, deafening noise estimated to be around 80-90 decibels, captured on a doorbell camera. The rhythmic, almost mechanical-sounding hum had residents buzzing with confusion. It didn't take long before people started theorizing. Was it a windmill? Maybe helicopter blades? Some even joked about alien abductions.
It almost sounded like a dog barking in a very rhythmical way in a sort of a muffled tone.
As the sound persisted, neighbors called 911, and social media went wild with guesses. People began connecting the dots, referencing past UFO sightings and mysterious sounds that preceded potential extraterrestrial encounters. With a rhythmic tone, reminiscent of a science fiction film, it was easy to understand why some felt a chill run down their spine, fearing they might be next on an alien's abduction list. Some even assumed it was a dog's rhythmic barking, but ultimately, the cause was revealed to be a slackline, a portable tightrope setup between trees that was whipping wildly in strong winds, creating the haunting noise. 7. The Unexplained Squeal in Forest Grove. For 2 weeks, residents of Forest Grove, Oregon, were treated to a high-pitched squealing sound that echoed outside their homes. This strange noise had locals on edge, trying to track down its source. Imagine hearing a sound so persistent that it felt like it was part of the scenery.
It was a horrible, horrible sound coming from the outside of my property. That high-pitched squealing.
Even the authorities were stumped, leaving everyone to wonder what was going on. Theories ranged from a malfunctioning piece of equipment to a wild animal in distress. As the days rolled on, the squeal became a hot topic, sparking conversations and drawing curiosity. Forest Grove might be known for its tranquil vibe, but for those 2 weeks, it was anything but quiet. 8. The Windsor Hum. Windsor, Ontario, has been living with a strange companion for over a decade. The Windsor Hum, this persistent low-frequency noise, described by residents as sounding like a distant engine or an industrial hum, has been causing sleepless nights and frayed nerves since it first made its presence known in 2011. It's like that uninvited guest who refuses to leave the party. Imagine trying to unwind after a long day, only to be met with this eerie drone that fills your home, particularly at night. Residents have taken to social media to vent about this sonic intruder, sparking debates about its origins. Some believe it could be linked to nearby industrial activity or even the ambient sounds of the bustling Detroit-Windsor corridor. Others are diving deep into the conspiracy rabbit hole, speculating that it could be a secret government project or even a signal from extraterrestrial life trying to communicate with us. Despite the Canadian government's efforts to uncover the truth behind this relentless noise, the mystery of the hum persists. So, is this unsettling sound an urban legend, or is it here to stay? Reminding Windsorites that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. 9. The mysterious sounds of Tampa Bay. In Tampa Bay, a strange sound has been making waves, leaving many residents confused. Scientists have confirmed that this noise is the mating call of black drumfish, which typically occurs in late winter to early spring. This is when these fish gather in large schools to attract their partners with a low, pulsating drum-like sound, creating an underwater symphony.
Yep, that's what they sound like. And enough of them together in the same general area can produce a lot of noise.
But one local woman claims she's heard the same sound echoing through her home, miles away from the water. How on earth is that possible? Is her house a secret fish breeding ground, or is there something even weirder at play? Are these fish trying to get their flirt on with a side of paranormal activity? Could they be using her living room as an intimate spot for their underwater love songs? Well, not quite. The sound produced by these fish can reach a staggering 165 decibels, thanks to their sonic muscles. This low-frequency noise travels far and wide, easily infiltrating homes and creating an acoustic phenomenon that's pretty hard to ignore. So, while the romance of the black drumfish is fascinating, it seems our local woman's auditory experience is just nature's way of broadcasting its mating calls. 10. Lawnmower in the sky. What would you do if you woke up to the sound of a flying lawnmower in the middle of the night? That's exactly what happened to residents of southern York County, Pennsylvania, who were jolted out of their sleep by a loud, slow-moving object overhead. From East York to Stewartstown, people took to social media to figure out what was going on. Was it a plane? A blimp? Something weirder? While theories flew, the local airport offered two possibilities: a military turboprop aircraft or a Ukrainian AN-12 cargo plane. The AN-12, known for its deafening roar, had flown over the area around the same time, en route from JFK to Texas. The noise fit, but for a lot of locals, the mystery remained. Could it have just been some heavy machinery in the sky, or was it something beyond the ordinary? One thing's for sure, people in York County won't forget that eerie 3 a.m. wake-up call anytime soon. But that's just been sounds heard across America. Now there's this strange noise echoing all around the world. 11. Trumpets of Doom. Let's talk end times, because these sky trumpets might be more than just freaky noises. In Islamic tradition, Israfil, an angel, is said to blow a trumpet to signal the end of the world. And Christianity has a similar apocalyptic event in the Book of Revelation, where 7 trumpets blast, one by one, each triggering a disaster. Think plagues, fire raining down, all that fun stuff. So, when people across the globe start hearing eerie, trumpet-like sounds out of nowhere, the question kind of asks itself, is this a sign of the end? Since 2008, reports have been coming in from places like Michigan, Texas, British Columbia, and even far-off spots like Ukraine, Germany, and Australia. People are hearing these metallic, horn-like blasts that seem straight out of a disaster movie. Videos have flooded the internet, showing these chilling sounds that give off serious sky is falling vibes. But what's behind them? When that didn't stop it, he built a 3-by-6-foot steel box to block out low-frequency waves. But the sound just got louder. While he believes it's some low-frequency hum, the fact that these trumpet-like sounds have been heard around the world for over a decade begs the question, are we hearing the same thing? Or are these mysterious sounds getting us ready for something bigger, something cosmic? Whatever it is, it's hard to shake off the feeling that we're listening to Earth's final alarm. 12. The Phoenix Lights. With all this buzz about potential end-of-the-world scenarios, it's only natural that people are connecting these creepy sounds to UFO sightings and other unexplained phenomena. Enter the Phoenix Lights, the iconic UFO incident that's basically the Beyoncé of the UFO world. On March 13th, 1997, a massive V-shaped formation of lights floated across the Arizona sky, leaving thousands of witnesses in awe. Picture this: orange and yellow lights perfectly arranged in a triangle.
This was a sighting on almost unprecedented scale.
Like they were part of an intergalactic flight crew. And get this, among the observers was none other than actor Kurt Russell, who was flying his plane that night. He saw the lights and reported them. How insane is that? Over 10,000 people, including the then governor, Fife Symington, reported the sighting, igniting a firestorm of speculation about what these lights could really be. They didn't just flicker and fade. These lights moved in a coordinated fashion, sparking debates about their origin that still linger today. 13. Black UFO over the Aegean. In 2018, a commercial flight over the Aegean Sea turned into a scene straight out of a sci-fi movie. A bizarre black object appeared next to the plane, performing wild, gravity-defying maneuvers that no known aircraft could pull off. The UFO darted around in ways that left pilots stunned sharp, erratic movements that seemed to defy physics. What made it even weirder? No one could identify what it was, and radar failed to pick up anything unusual. The pilots, as well as aviation authorities, were left baffled, as no solid explanation has emerged since. The sighting was in clear daylight, making the black object stand out all the more against the sky. And did it make a sound? That's still unclear. Interestingly, while some UFOs are eerily silent, there have been other sightings where unidentified objects make a racket plenty of noise, even in outer space. 14. The Boeing Starliner's unusual noise. The curious case of the Boeing Starliner capsule recently made headlines not just for its journey, but for the strange sounds coming from within it. Astronauts aboard the spacecraft were gearing up for a return to Earth when a mysterious pulsing noise began to echo within the capsule. Was it an alien transmission? A glitch in the Matrix? Nope. NASA confirmed that the noise was just some feedback from the audio setup between the International Space Station and the capsule, and thankfully, the sound stopped before things got too dramatic. While that noise might have faded, it didn't happen soon enough. Their stay has turned into a 3-month adventure, with the possibility of being up in space for up to 8 months. 15. The space music of Apollo 10. In 1969, during the Apollo 10 mission, astronauts picked up some strange sounds while orbiting the moon. These noises were so unusual that they hesitated to report them to mission control. They were concerned that disclosing these odd sounds could jeopardize their chances of flying on future missions. So what was behind this weird space symphony? It turns out the noises were caused by radio interference between the lunar module and the command module.
Were recorded and transmitted to mission control in Houston.
As the two crafts communicated in close proximity, their radios picked up odd sounds, which some later described as outer space music. The crew, consisting of Thomas Stafford, John Young, and Eugene Cernan, experienced this auditory anomaly during their journey, which was essentially a dress rehearsal for the historic Apollo 11 moon landing. Though they didn't immediately share their findings, the astronauts later recounted their experiences, igniting imaginations and conspiracy theories alike. 16. The sound of Mars. For the first time ever, we're tuning into Mars. Yes, you heard that right. We've finally captured the sounds of the red planet specifically, the haunting whispers of wind drifting across its rocky terrain. This incredible breakthrough transforms Mars from a distant, silent world into a living, breathing place, almost like it's talking to us. The Martian wind isn't just a sound, it's a captivating symphony, a representation of the planet's unique atmosphere, stirring up dust and creating these otherworldly vibes.
On rocks and learn about rock material properties.
And it's all thanks to the Perseverance rover, which has been rolling across the Martian landscape and providing us with these amazing audio clips that echo throughout the cosmos. And speaking of the Perseverance rover, let's talk about its adventures on the Martian surface. These sounds are just the rover's metal wheels grinding over rocks and sand, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, there's a certain clumsiness to exploration. If we're worried about strange sounds coming from outer space, we should really be paying closer attention to what's lurking in our own oceans. After all, with more of space mapped out than our oceans, who knows what's hiding in the deep, unexplored waters of Earth. 17. The Bloop. Have you heard of the Bloop? This epic sound once reigned as the loudest underwater noise ever recorded, and it had scientists buzzing like bees at a honey convention. Discovered by NOAA back in 1997, the bloop was so powerful it could be detected over 5,000 kilometers away. It was like the ocean's own version of a rock concert, leaving everyone wondering about its origins. Initially, many people wondered whether this colossal noise could be tied to some massive underwater creature, perhaps even something bigger than the blue whale, the reigning champ of marine noise. Just imagine a creature so enormous it could challenge the legends of the Kraken. The thought of a gigantic sea monster lurking in the abyss fired up imaginations and sparked all sorts of theories. Finally, in 2005, scientists cracked the case wide open. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a legendary beast lurking in the depths. Instead, it turned out to be the cracking and breaking of ice in Antarctica, specifically icebergs calving. So, while it wasn't the discovery of a mythical monster, it did showcase the ocean's unpredictable and ever-changing nature. 18. A celestial farewell. On October 1st, 2016, Jerusalem became the stage for a ridiculously bizarre spectacle when a ring cloud materialized in the sky, blasting unsettling trumpet-like sounds. This wasn't just any day. It came right after the funeral of Shimon Peres, Israel's 9th president. Talk about timing. With the nation in mourning, many locals felt like the heavens were sending a cosmic farewell. Witnesses described the sounds as haunting, like the sky was trying to communicate something profound. Speculation ran wild. Was this an omen, a sign from beyond? The dramatic backdrop of grief, mixed with those otherworldly noises, stirred up some serious chatter. People couldn't help but wonder if the skies were reflecting the deep emotions everyone was feeling. Experts later explained that the sounds likely came from a rare atmospheric phenomenon, but that didn't stop the magical vibe from lingering. For those who experienced it, it felt like the universe was joining in their sorrow, wrapping the moment in mystery and wonder. 19. Nature warns with mysterious sounds in Whining. Back in the summer of 2020, Whining, a charming little mountain town in Guizhou Province, China, became the center of a pretty wild mystery. Starting on June 26th, an unexplainable sound started echoing through the mountains, and people couldn't resist flocking to the area to figure out what was going on. This strange sound hung around for several days, captivating locals and baffling experts alike. Despite the best efforts of specialists to get to the bottom of it, no one could pinpoint the source of the noise,
but could not identify the origin of the sound.
But things took an even more curious turn when, just days later, on July the 2nd, a 4.5 magnitude earthquake rocked nearby Hejiang, about 30 miles away from Whining. Coincidence? Maybe, but the timing had some people wondering if the weird sounds were a warning from nature itself. 20. The haunting sounds of a Finnish storm. Imagine chilling out in Finland during a storm when suddenly you start hearing these super creepy sounds coming from up above. That's exactly what happened when nimbostratus clouds rolled in, bringing along some terrifying noises that many described as the moans of the earth. As the storm approached, the clouds seemed to get closer and closer, wrapping everything in a thick gray blanket. Residents were understandably freaked out. The sounds were so strange that it felt like the heavens were trying to communicate something sinister. People likened it to a low, haunting hum mixed with whale-like moan, and it left them wondering if the clouds were trying to tell them something about the impending storm. What else do you think is out there? And are you brave enough to find out?